Hey, my name's Kevin and welcome to our new series, Let's Play Barre Chords Together. I'm glad you made it here. I'm glad the thumbnail didn't scare you away, so go you for taking some time to challenge yourself and get better at barre chords. This series is going to be all about working through the different barre chord shapes, learning how to use them together, and mostly spending our time playing these together, because if you want to get better at barre chords, you have to use them, you have to play them, and the best way to do that is to play it with someone else, and I'm here to do that with you. So get yourself tuned up, and we're going to check out some barre chords. Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and click that alert bell so you know when the next video is coming your way. If you're interested in more learning resources, head over to allforuke.com where we have a full searchable library of songs, song sheets, practice tracks, worksheets, and more. All for you, allforuke.com. So to get things started with barre chords, we're going to start off with a couple of seventh shapes here. So I'm going to show you guys the shapes that we'll use for the play-alongs here. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the shapes. I do have another series called Learning Barre Chords that you can check out, and I'll leave a link to that in the description where I go through each shape a little bit more in depth. So the first shape I want to talk about is the minor seventh shape, and that's the easiest barre chord shape because it only requires one finger. So I'm going to demonstrate it here as a B minor 7, but know that barre chords are shapes. They are not just chords, which means they can be moved around, and when you play them in different spots, they become different chord names, and I'll demonstrate that throughout here. But think shape rather than chord here. So the B minor 7, which is just going to be using my index finger, placing it over the entire second fret here. Now, something important about this is you want to make sure you leave a little sliver of space here between the actual metal bar, the fret, and your finger. And something else I want to mention is I'm not really just sitting here super flat on here with my index finger. I'm kind of tilting my index finger to the outside part, so I have a little bit harder spot here on my finger rather than the soft pads that are underneath. And then the third point is use your thumb behind your index finger to create that pinch. So when you play this, it should sound like so. Now let's say you try to play it and it sounds like, well, then you know that you're not getting enough of a squeeze on the neck, so you have to squeeze a little harder. And if that's challenging you, try to play it, release it, play it again, and just kind of try to build up that pressure point where you're going to start kind of getting that good bite on the neck to get that barre chord. So that's our minor seventh shape. So this is cool. The minor seventh shape, and I'll also mention you should check out my movable chord shapes. This is the B minor 7. If I move it up one fret to the third fret, it becomes C minor 7. If I move it up to the fourth fret, it's C sharp minor 7. As you move this shape, you're changing the root of the chord, which in turn changes the name of the chord. The shape stays the same, but the chord has a different name depending on where you play it. Now that applies to all barre chords, which brings me to the next shape, which is our regular dominant seventh shape. So the dominant seventh shape, I'm going to demonstrate it here as a common one that you've probably seen, which is D7. So the D7 chord you play by barring the entire second fret with your index finger and putting your middle finger on the A string of the third fret. So now we just have the bar with the index and middle finger down here. Now if I were to take this shape and move it to the third fret, it goes from being a D7 to an E flat 7. If I move it again, it becomes E7. If I move it up to the fifth, it becomes F7, and so forth and so on all the way up the neck. So it's pretty cool that you can just use these couple of shapes. So let's say you're playing a song and you come across an E7. Well, you have your first position version, or you have your barre chord version. So that's one of the dominant 7 shapes. And another dominant 7 shape here is another common chord you've seen, which is B7. So B7, again, we start here with just the index finger barring the entire second fret, and we place our middle finger on the C string of the third fret. So we have that little B7 sound there. So again, if we move this B7, just like when we played the B minor 7, when we move this chord up a fret, it goes from being B7 to C7, to C sharp 7, to another D7. So again, we can move all of these shapes around, and that's what we're going to do here when we play these together. So get yourself tuned up, and now we're going to walk through a couple of progressions using these different shapes. If you're digging the sound of my uke, head over to allforuke.com/shop. You can have a Kala ukulele for yourself. When you buy your Kala ukulele through All for Uke, you're supporting us, and we really appreciate it. Make sure you check it out. Concerts, sopranos, tenors, baritones, a wide selection of accessories, capos, and more. All for you, allforuke.com/shop. All right, so before we get started playing along here, let me talk about the strumming pattern. So we're going to keep it simple here. We're going to do a down, up, clap strumming pattern. So I'm just going to demonstrate it with open strings here. So we go down with our index, up with our index, and then we clap our hand over the sound hole here. So it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So that'll be the strumming pattern we use throughout this play along section. So just kind of stay with that. Each one of these, down, up, clap, equals 1 time. So the first progression we're going to use here, you'll see below, we're just going to go back and forth between B minor 7 and C sharp minor 7. So we'll do those each 2 times. I want you to focus here on keeping your thumb behind your index finger, and as you move between these 2 bar chords, I really want you to keep your index finger on the strings. So nice thing about ukulele is strings are nylon. You don't hear a screech like you do with a guitar when you try to slide up and down the strings. I like to keep my fingers in contact with the strings as I move them to try to keep them nice and close in proximity, so when I need to squeeze down, I don't have my finger way out here to have to bring it back to the strings. It's already resting on the string. For our first play along here, I'll just count us in. We'll do 2 times on each chord with the down, up, clap strumming pattern, and we'll just go for a little bit here so you have some nice time to practice this bar chord move. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Switch. Back to B minor and C sharp minor. You're playing bar chords, aren't you? It's a good place to start as any. Really work on getting that index pressure on the strings. Are all the notes ringing out clearly, or are you letting one of them sneak through as a dead note? You want to test it out. A couple more times. 1 and 2. That's right, smile, we're playing bar chords together. Last time. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. All right, I hope you had fun with the minor 7s. Now we're gonna do one with some dominant 7 chords. So we're gonna use these 2 shapes here, the D7 shape and the B7 shape. So follow along on the blue bar below. We're gonna do down, up, clap 2 times per chord, and we'll probably go through this a couple of times. So as you're doing this, again, try to focus your attention here on the pinch point, making sure your index finger and your thumb are compressing down nicely here, and all of these notes are ringing through. So before we get started, pluck each string individually. Make sure they're all ringing out nice and clean and clear. If you're getting any dead notes, that means you need to make an adjustment with your finger. So here we go. We're gonna start on D7. I got a fun little walk up here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, clap. B7. E flat 7. C7. Now E7. C sharp 7, back to the D7, walking it back up, E flat 7, C7, E7, last one C sharp 7. All right, so for the last progression, we're going to combine the minor 7th and dominant 7th shape together. So follow along as we do this, same strumming pattern, about the same pace, and we'll go through this a couple of times. So here we go, starting on the B minor 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. C sharp minor 7, up to C sharp 7, here we go. Rise to D7, stick around on the D7, 3, 4, going back down. Mixing the minor 7s and the dominant 7s. Alright, stay on the B minor 7 here. Up to C sharp minor 7. How's that index finger feeling, guys? Going up to D7, hanging out here. Back to C sharp 7. C sharp minor 7. We're almost done. And B minor 7, 2, 3. Well, you made it through your first day of Let's Play Barre Chords. I commend you for that. Thanks for sticking with me. I know barre chords are challenging, but you have to keep going. You have to persevere through them, and you have to do them a little bit every day. So I want you guys to use this series as a guide and just a place for you to practice these barre chords. So you don't have to do it alone. You can play them with me, and I want to know, where around the world are you playing your barre chords with me? What are your favorite barre chords? Feel free to leave those in the comments below. And I'll see you back here for episode 2 of Let's Play Barre Chords. My name's Kevin. Thank you so much for watching.
Let's get